Well, thank you for staying with us. This is Firecrackers, and we're live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. I understand Aisha Yesufu is standing by to speak with us. She has been described as the voice of humanity, but amongst other things, she is a social political activist, and of course, she's also the co-founder of the Bring Back Our Girls. She joins us live from Abuja, the nation's capital. We also have Colonel Hassan Lambo, a retired colonel and a security expert, who joins us live from Lagos. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. In fact, my apologies, please. Lady and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on the program tonight. I believe for a moment we'll be able to use the screen so I can have a proper conversation with you two. But let's begin here in Lagos, where Colonel Hassan Labo is standing by to speak with us. Colonel, well, the boys have been released, but what do you make of some of the incidents that played out in the course of their release? For instance, there's one of the media aides to Mr. President, Garba Shehu, had initially come out in public to say that only 10 boys were missing, actually, but we had way more than that. So much margin between 10 and 344.
Yeah, someone has so much come to admire.
Thank you.
Yes, having said that, yes, having said that, let me quickly say, Garba Shehu only, I would say, reacted in the way, I'm sorry to say, this administration has always reacted when it comes to very important matters bordering on the welfare and security of the people. I have never been impressed. It's unfortunate. But given the outcome of the Kangara school abduction incident, I would say we are all filled with joy that our kids are back to us, irrespective of the level of ineptitude we have always seen with those who should prevail over. Let us not by looking so much into Garba's mixing up of figures. The federal government in Abuja was giving us a different figure. What was coming out from the governor's office in Katsina was a different figure. All that has been overtaken by the joy of the children coming in. Let's not spoil our joy, please. I don't want to sound so funny on air. I don't want to spoil my joy, like I said. I've been so happy in the last 48 hours. Please don't ruin that joy.
Well, Colonel, I have a 2-month-old son. I mean, it's not due for school just yet, but I'm just wondering, how safe are our schools generally in Nigeria? Because we had the Chibok schoolgirls in 2014, we had the Dapchi in 2018, and here we are, Kankara, in 2020. I mean, there have also been other kidnappings and abductions.
We have never learned from our experience. It's unfortunate. Right from when the Chibok incident happened, and when great Nigerians like Aisha and co came up with the slogan, you know, bring back our girls and so on, a good number of us, security consultants on the sideline, came up with lots of fantastic ideas as to how our schools, churches, and so on could be protected. We haven't seen any of this being implemented to date. What have we done with the Safe School program, which we sat down and discussed with the Bill Gates Foundation and so on? How far have we gone about that? In inherent in that safe school program is what I call the preventive terrorism initiative component, which actually has to do with how much protection that we brought to bear on schools. What have we done with them? At times you wonder if we have a government in this country. I really can't understand what's happening. We moved from Chibok, we moved into Dachi, no lessons learned. We moved from Dachi, we are now in Kandera, or what's it called? Lessons are not. After all this, we shall all go to sleep again. I can assure you. We shall all go back to bed. After these 2 days of celebration, that's if the celebration, we pray, is not terminated with another incident. Because we have become now a nation of one day, one incident. It's unfortunate. We have to really sit up with our security. Our armed forces, our paramilitary are trying their best, but I'm afraid their best isn't probably good enough. Those who should be oversighting them are already asleep. Government is asleep in Nigeria. We all know that, both at federal and state levels. We are no longer safe. We are not safe. If Nigerians don't start speaking out now, I'm afraid, when shall we speak out? When?
Colonel,
when we speak out, people think you are against the government. Nobody is against the government. The president is somebody I have always seen as a father, right from my days as a boy soldier at the age of 13 in military service area. I respect him until today. He's somebody I look forward to meeting with, a person. But that doesn't stop me from telling somebody who is my own dad that, sir, we've got to do things the other way around. We are not getting things right. Enough is enough. This country is sinking. We are sinking every day. Somebody is just got to cry out, even at the risk of his personal safety. Because that is what is gradually falling into now.
yes, Colonel, thank you so much. Let's take this conversation to Abuja, the nation's capital, where Aisha is also standing by to speak with us. Aisha Yesufu, the co-founder of the Bring Back Our Girls movement, a very, very popular movement, I must say. Aisha, she's also a social-political activist, and she has been described as the voice of humanity. Technically, if you can help me, I need to see Aisha on the screen now. But Aisha, let's talk to you. How did you receive this news of the release of the Kankara schoolboys, especially the fact that you have been very involved in the fights for the girls who were kidnapped in Chibok in 2015?
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much, Colonel, for your kind words. I really first of all, I would just like to say that the Chibok girls were abducted in 2014, not 2015. Okay. It was April 14, yes. 2014 that they were abducted. For me, it's with tremendous joy, and so glad and happy that Kankara boys are back home and with their parents. And it's not like the tragedy of the Chibok girls, where we still have 112 of our Chibok girls that are still abducted. I don't know if you can see this. I have two wristbands on my hand. One of them, now they are all plain, nothing written on them. One of them had writing. The other one that we shared, that was given to me by a friend, had Chibok girls and the day they were abducted on it. And then the other one, of course, was plain. And at the Bring Back Our Girls movement, in the first week of May, we wanted to have the one that would have Bring Back Our Girls written on it. And so I was the one, I went to get a printer, and I asked him how long it was going to take. And they told me, oh, there was none in Abuja. We're going to send to Lagos, and it was going to take about 2 weeks. And I said to the printer, oh, forget about it. We don't have 2 weeks. Or the girls will be brought back before 2 weeks. And when I put these two wristbands on, I said to myself, I would never return them until every one of our Chibok girls was brought back home. And it's over 6 years now. And I have to wear this because that was the promise I made to myself. And the only times I've removed this thing in the 6 years were the 3 times that I entered the surgery and I needed to have operation on myself. So I had to take everything off. So that tells you for us what this means. It means a whole lot. And I love the way the Colonel said, don't spoil my joy. As far as it's concerned, as far as I'm concerned, the fact that children are back to their houses, they're back with their parents, there is joy. It is time for us now to work on ensuring that they get the right psychosocial treatment, because this is not the time to just forget about them. They went through terror that nobody was supposed to go through. So indeed, it's a joyful occasion.
But are you also concerned about the fact that it didn't take the boys, it took just about a week or so for them to be released, but then the Chibok incident, these girls have been there for, since 2014. Why give the boys this attention and then for the girls, they've been there since 2014. I'm still with you, Aisha. This question is for
I'm hearing you.
Please. Yeah. So
first of all, what I would like to say is the fact that there's no competition in tragedy. There's no competition. Oh, why was this one taken? As far as we're concerned, they're back, and that's the most important thing. What we should be asking question about is that why were they taken in the first place? Chibok girls were never supposed to have been taken. Buniyadi boys were never supposed to have been killed in their school. Potiskum boys were never supposed to have been killed in their school. Dapchi girls were never supposed to have been taken in their school. Kankara boys also were never supposed to have been taken. They ought to have been protected. The primary responsibility of any government is the protection of lives and properties. And any government that fails to protect the lives and properties of its citizens is not fit to be called a government. The things, there are quite a number of things that would worry us about the whole of this abduction, but certainly what is not one of it is the rescue. We're glad is the release, rather, since we didn't have a rescue. We're glad our Kankara boys are back at home with their parents, and this is the time to start asking questions. And the questions we need to ask, first of all, is that why was there no intelligence gathered before all of this happened? How come DSS that are very good at going after protesters and arresting people before they even protest were nowhere to be found? What happened with our DMI? What happened with the intelligence unit of the police? So these are major issues. Then also, why the attack was going on? Why was there no any counter attack or prevention while the attack was going on? How come the terrorists were able to have a field day to spend hours packing all of our boys and walking away with them? Why is it that when they were walking away, when they were being taken to all the way to Zamfara State or wherever it is they were brought back from, there was no interception? And this is a place, this is a region that is rife with insecurity, that you would expect that there are security agents all over the place. Why was this not so? Most importantly, on that same night, the president and the commander-in-chief, and for me, the president isn't my father. The president isn't my grandfather. The president was voted to be the president and commander-in-chief, and right now he's totally failing at doing any of this. The president went into his home state, Katsina, on that day, that night. The presence of the commander-in-chief was not enough for the terrorists to stop the plan of abducting this boy. That should worry every one of us. That means they know that there is no security. In the state that it's rife with insecurity, with the commander-in-chief being there, you would have thought that every place would have been on lockdown in a way, security-wise, that even a mouse walking anywhere will be under the torchlight of our security agencies, from DSS, police, military, Air Force, even if there's no water there, you expect they will be on alert. But that didn't happen. Therefore, they were able to still carry on their attack on the same day that the president went in there. And most importantly, if you listen to the interview that you played earlier on of the president, we had seconds being caught, different seconds. We couldn't see a president speaking for a long time, and let's hear the coherence from him. The president said something. He congratulated the soldiers. And he said the soldiers encircled the abductors. First and foremost, the military were not part of this operation. It was negotiation, accordingly, negotiation by Miyetti Allah, and I think that should worry every one of us. On what basis was Miyetti Allah negotiating on the behalf of the federal government of Nigeria? On what basis? Where are our security agencies? Is it that Miyetti Allah is now a strength for negotiation? Is it that Miyetti Allah is now a terrorist organization, or what? Is it Miyetti Allah is affiliated with Boko Haram or bandits? These are questions we need to ask. Then the president coming to say Aisha, that the soldiers were the ones who had done this, where there was no military intervention. It wasn't military intervention abroad. Or let me just round up on this now. And then when he said they circled the abductors, Where are the abductors? How do you circle abductors? You bring back the children and you leave the abductors so that they'll go and kidnap again from another school. The last time we had there was abduction of students from school in southern Kaduna. Nothing has been done about them now. Every Nigerian life must matter.
Aisha, thank you so much for those very wonderful thoughts and indeed questions that indeed I want to say they are begging and begging for answers, especially from the Nigerian government. But let's take this conversation back here in Lagos, where Colonel is standing by. Colonel, well, you have been in the game of securing our territorial integrity. Do you subscribe to negotiating with the bandits or terrorists or insurgents? Is that a position or a view that you share, Colonel Stan Lambo? Is that a view you share?
There are two answers to that. If you want an official response, I will tell you we don't negotiate with bandits or terrorists. If you want a realistic response, I'll tell you, you bloody well go negotiate. Even those who wrote the doctrines and told you not to negotiate, they negotiate. The reality is that negotiations carry on when you are under a desperate situation. For paperwork to pass your exams as a student, do not negotiate with terrorists. Reality is after you've graduated and you're operating, you bloody well negotiate and pull out your men. Okay? So there are two responses to that. Even the Americans, if you want me to go citing examples, I would tell you days, dates, where, when, and how. Americans have negotiated in nearly all the international operations they found themselves in, where their men would need to be extricated. All right? But definitely these are not things you do and come out and say you did. Nobody in government will open his mouth and tell you we negotiated. So at times I don't really take such comments into consideration, because behind me, on my own, I know certain things that could have happened. I'm not saying they happened. I said that could have happened. It is very possible to negotiate. It is realistic to negotiate. Okay?
All right.
If you look at the individuals we are talking about, yeah.
Let me allow you a round off on that thought.
I should round up, you said?
Yes, let me allow you for a moment to round off with that particular thought.
Okay, yeah, fine. I was trying to say that if you look at the individuals we are talking about here, all right, with all the, would I say, information that came in from the Boko Haram leader Shekau and so on, that's if he was the one speaking anyway. Frankly, I must tell you that, yes, Shekau may not have been involved in this, because along the line, in the course of negotiations, he was outwitted out, okay? He was edged out completely. If he had been given the chance to come in, he's somebody who would have proven tough and probably wouldn't have allowed us get out of our way, because he would want to use these kids to prove a point for propaganda reasons. Since we were able to edge him out, when I say we now, I mean our government or whoever we are those representing us as a nation. Since he was well edged out, it was not possible to talk with these other chaps. Of course, you should understand that bandits, their main concern is just ransom. That is their agenda. But when you talk about terrorists, in most cases, their agenda is something that of a theocratic, installing a theocratic state and things like that. And then they could, of course, use abductees like this for propaganda and so on. So if we had allowed the bandits to have moved faster than us and be able to hand over these boys to Shekau, they would have made fantastic money from Shekau, and Shekau will use them for propaganda. But Shekau couldn't achieve his aim, and we were able to get these boys out from these guys. Through negotiations, of course, certain things may have exchanged hands. I cannot say yes or no to that, but I know we did negotiate it. And of course, like I said, certain things may have exchanged hands. Looking at the individuals we're talking about, they are not billionaires who wouldn't want to request for something. If they requested and we were able to talk them out,
because we are pressed. The choice
that our boy,
we have to begin to round off our conversation right now because we're pressed for time. But I know that for a while you turned down interviews for some time. And you have been very critical, you have been vocal. I mean, you're known for saying the truth as it is. But getting credible guests and people who will say, I mean, the truth or call a spade in these times are becoming really very, very difficult. Are you afraid for your life?
It is unfortunate, and I must say this on air, it is unfortunate that the situation in my country has degenerated to a level whereby it takes guts to speak the truth on air now. Because even family members will caution you to be careful. Because the sycophants who surround the president has no problem. But you see those sycophants around him, those bootlickers around him, oh my God, they are messing up this country so that it becomes safe. Keeping quiet, keep your cool, in the interest of your children, in the interest of your family. Because people are ready to protect their positions. They can even eliminate you. You've got to be very careful. And that is why of late some of us have deliberately shied away from granting interviews. Because I can't come on air, I want to check my lips. I say it the way I see it and the way I know it. Simple, period.
All right, Colonel.
Okay?
Colonel, we'd like to thank
I can't come on air and start biting my lips here and there.
Yes, Colonel. We'd like to thank you so much for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV. Colonel Hassan Stan Labo, a very wonderful friend of Galaxy TV. We'd like to thank you so much for your views and your thoughts. Yes, let me also take that question now to Aisha Yesufu, who is also standing by in Abuja, the nation's capital. Aisha, thank you for being there as well. You have also been very critical. You have been very vocal about the Nigerian government as well. Maybe I would ask you, why is that so? In 60 seconds, just do an overview. And I'd also like to ask you, you have been tagged as the voice of humanity, but are you afraid for your life in these difficult times?
Okay, thank you so much. In 60 seconds. So first of all, I would like to talk about the question on negotiation that you asked about. And I think one of the things we must understand, and our position at the Bring Back Our Girls movement, is the fact that there are different ways of rescuing those who have been abducted. Negotiation, military action, combination of negotiation and military action. The one we say we do not want is do nothing. And it's very important for us all to understand it. And government has all the information to know which of them to take. Whatever is done, they must ensure they protect the territorial integrity of our nation. For me, basically, one of the things I would like to say is that the Balmari farmers have never spoken out, and yet they were killed and slaughtered in the most hideous manner that you can ever expect. Death for me would be when, it's not when you can no longer breathe in oxygen or breathe out carbon dioxide. Death for me is when you can no longer speak the truth because you are afraid to die. And so for me, it's really nothing. The day that I'm going to die is the day that I'm going to die, and nobody is going to take anything away. But I can die even right now while I'm speaking to you live on TV. But what I will never do is to ensure that I kill myself by not saying the truth. We must speak out. And it's quite a shame for a lot of people that keep calling to say, oh, stop speaking, they're going to kill you. They should be ashamed that they feel that they live in a country where somebody, for just speaking the truth, is going to be killed. And one of the things also that I will say, the Commander-in-Chief and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, is the incompetent one. He's the one who has the advisors around him, and the box stops at his table, and right now citizens are being killed.
I'm sure that's it. Aisha Yesufu, would like to thank you so much, for your views and your thoughts. The voice of humanity, a social-political activist, and then, of course, the co-founder of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. Thank you so much for speaking with us tonight from the nation's capital, Abuja. And, of course, we also had Colonel Hassan Stan Labo from Lagos, right here, Nigeria's commercial capital. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Firecrackers. We will... Yes. All right. All right. So we will continue with the show as we get to continue with other things that has to do with COVID-19. There are talks of a possible shutdown or another shutdown, if you may, here in Nigeria. But in the UK, it does appear we have a very, very terrible situation. That's because Italy, Netherlands, Belgium have all banned flights from the UK. That's in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.